This meeting is now called to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Corman?
Here.
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Ms. Perez?
Here.
Mr. McIrvin?
Here.
Ms. Witchy?
Here.
Mr. Person? Mr. Prince?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we excuse Councilmember Person.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council excuse Councilmember Person. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, first item is a couple of proclamations.
Okay, the first proclamation is for Volunteer Month. Whereas experience has shown that government by itself cannot solve all of our nation's social problems, and whereas volunteers are vital to our future as a caring and productive nation, and whereas volunteering of one's time and resources is a fundamental part of our community's tradition and is essential to its spirit, and whereas the entire community benefits directly or indirectly from each and every act of volunteer service, and whereas volunteers working in our community give their time and talent daily to make a real difference in the lives of our children, adults, the elderly, and the frail, and whereas volunteers can connect with local community service opportunities through the City of Renton's volunteer program and hundreds of community service organizations, and whereas the volunteers who give their time and expertise to improve the quality of life for the citizens of Renton are a great treasure and deserve special recognition. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2016 to be Volunteer Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all members of the community to commit a portion of their time to volunteer service. By volunteering and by recognizing those who serve, we can perpetuate the spirit and vitality of this great city. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 28th day of March 2016. And it is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move that council concur in the proclamation.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the proclamation. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Teresa Nishi with the Community Services Department is going to receive this.
Thank you, Mayor Law and council members. As you know, volunteers are vital in providing our services within Renton. They are spending their time on a board or a commission, greeting visitors in the lobby of City Hall, and helping remove graffiti and block watch programs for the police department. They are also helping with the care of disaster with the Fire and Emergency Services Department, and of course with park restorations, coaching our recreation programs, and helping at other city special events within this city. In 2015, there was over 5,000 individual volunteers who contributed 40,698 hours. So in appreciation to our many volunteers in the city, we will host the annual appreciation event on Thursday, April 21st at the Renton Pavilion Event Center. We will also be celebrating our Arbor Day and Earth Day with volunteers planting trees and flowers at the Cedar River Park on Saturday, April 30th. So everyone can check out the many opportunities and become a volunteer on our city's website. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Teresa.
Okay, the next proclamation is for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in this community. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment harm our community, and statistics show that 1 out of 3 girls, 1 out of 5 boys, and 23% of women are the victims of sexual assault. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age of 18. And whereas young people experience heightened rates of sexual violence, and youth ages 12 to 17 are 2.5 times as likely to be the victims of rape or sexual assault. And whereas on campus, 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted during their time in college. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about sexual violence prevention, support survivors, and speak out against harmful attitudes and actions. And whereas prevention is possible when we increase education, awareness, and community involvement. And whereas each day of the year is an opportunity to create a change for the future. And Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim April 2016 to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance and join advocates and communities across the country in taking action to prevent sexual violence. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 28th day of March 2016, and it is signed by Mayor Dennis Law.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we adopt the proclamation as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman, that council adopt the proclamation as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. As we know, this is a big deal. This is really a big deal. Renton's been privileged to have the King County Sexual Assault Resource Center headquartered in our city, even though they serve the entire region. And here tonight to accept the proclamation is Mary Ellen Stone, who has been leading that organization for quite a few years.
Quite a few years. Thank you so much. Mayor Law, council members, thank you so much for this. Yeah, as I was driving over, I was thinking, it has been 40 years this year that King County, at that point, King County Rape Relief was started. We have made so much progress, and we could not have done it without you. The city has been a leader and a partner with us from the beginning. You know, I've been saying for the last couple of years, you can't stop something unless you can talk about it. And with sexual assault, that is exactly where we are. We have to be able to talk about it in order to stop it. I have brought for you one of our Be Loud buttons. There's one for each of you, because it's a way to start those conversations. This proclamation raises awareness. It encourages people to start talking about it. It helps support the hundreds of victims that we respond to every year from the city of Renton. It gets those conversations going. You're part of the change. And so I want to say thank you so very much. Particular appreciation to Mayor Law for leading this throughout King County. We have, I think, close to 30 cities signing on to do proclamations all over the county. It's wonderful. So thank you again so very much. I'll come back next month and let you know how it's going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Mr. Mayor, council members, mostly updates to some of our street projects. I think with the forecasted good weather this week, we'll actually get to some of these projects and get them done. A lot of them have been dependent on the weather. So we'll, of course, Main Avenue, we're still working there. We'll be in the area of Union Avenue Northeast at 2001 Union Avenue to install some utilities this week. 156th Avenue, there's some development there. We're trying to refinish that street finally for folks. Intersection South 7th Street and Shattuck, where we put in a signal light. We'll want to complete the street work there this week. And I think other than Logan Avenue, which is continuing on, there's a couple of other areas where we'll just be in the road for a couple of days. So with the good weather, I think our folks will be out there. Just encourage people to be careful and use patience and caution when you're around construction sites. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Moving on to, well, there's nobody signed up for audience comment unless there's a staff member that, Paul, do you want to come forward a few words? Okay. Moving on to consent agenda, we have 6 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Corman.
I move the council approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Corman, seconded by Mr. Pavoni, that council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Unfinished business, Mr. Corman.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee has 3 committee reports to be read.
Okay, the first committee report is regarding approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on March 28, 2016, claims vouchers 345561 through 346002, 3 wire transfers, and 1 payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $6,723,291.13, and payroll vouchers including 754 direct deposits and 402 payroll checks totaling $2,427,217.45. And this is signed by the committee vice chair and member.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the council concur with the recommendations of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
The second Finance Committee report is regarding the resolution to approve the JOC work order proposal number 91. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve a job order contract work order with Forma Construction Company, proposal number 91, in the amount of $174,950.25 to demolish 4 remaining housing units for the development of the future Sunset Court Park. The committee further recommends that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the work order, and this is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the council concur with the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the final Finance Committee report is regarding the Amazing Grace Lutheran Church addendum. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence with the staff recommendation to approve addendum number 2 of lease LAG 14-006 with Amazing Grace Lutheran Church for rental of the 3rd floor of the 200 Mill building. The committee further recommends that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign the work order. This is signed by the committee vice chair and member.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
I move that the council concur with the committee findings.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, thank you. Ms. Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. McIrvin.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Ms. Witchy
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
and Mr. Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. We have 1 resolution and 3 ordinances tonight.
Okay, the first resolution is a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, adopting the 2017 through 2022 business plan.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the first ordinance for first reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending the City of Renton fiscal years 2015-2016 biennial budget as adopted by ordinance number 5737 and thereafter amended by ordinance numbers 5755, 5764, and 5777 in the amount of $85,923,795.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move that the ordinance be put on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the first ordinance for second and final reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, granting unto Level 3 Communications, LLC, authorized to do business within the state of Washington, its affiliates, successors, and assigns the right, privilege, and authority to install communications facilities, specifically fiber optic cable and related appurtenances, under, along, over, below, through, and across the streets, avenues, and alleys of the City of Renton within the public right-of-way of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. McIrvin.
I move that the ordinance be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. McIrvin, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read and requires a roll call.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McIrvin?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor. All ayes.
Ayes have it.
Okay, the second ordinance for second and final reading is an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, granting Olympic Pipeline Company, an interstate corporation incorporated in the state of Delaware, its successors, and assigns a non-exclusive privilege and franchise, subject to the terms and limitations provided in this ordinance, to construct, repair, replace, operate, and maintain its existing 20-inch, 16-inch, and 12.75-inch diameter pipelines, together with equipment and required appurtenances beneath the rights-of-way within and through the City of Renton, Washington.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Perez.
I move the ordinance to be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved by Ms. Perez, seconded by Mr. Corman, that this ordinance be adopted as read, and this requires a roll call.
Mr. Corman?
Aye.
Mr. Pavoni?
Aye.
Ms. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. McGurven?
Aye.
Ms. Witchy?
Aye.
Mr. Prince?
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Thanks, Megan. The ayes have it. Moving on to new business, Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just would like to announce a committee of the whole meeting for April 11th. That's a Monday at 6 o'clock p.m. in the conferencing center. And there's 2 items on that agenda. The first is a legislative wrap-up. The second is Visitor Center Lodging Tax Advisory Committee recommendation. I'd also like to remind council and the public that the April 4th council meeting is canceled due to several council members being away on travel. And then while I have the floor, I'd just like to say that I got to visit the Highlands Library, which has had a soft opening, and it's just an amazing building. And Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you and all the members of the staff, and I'm afraid to name them because I'll probably leave people out that contributed to that. The public may not realize that even though it's a King County Library, part of the King County Library system, the city staff here in Renton did an enormous job planning and building that, working with several key partners to make that happen, and it's going to be a lovely building in the Highlands, and very pleased with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Corman. And we'll have to give some credit to Peter Renner, who is no longer with us, the facilities director, who absolutely lived that project. And so we'll pass along your nice words to Peter. You'll appreciate that.
Surprised that nobody seemed to have any trouble finding the place. It was absolutely crowded when I was there,
Yeah, it
so it's
was.
wonderful to see that. People using every corner of that building already, so it's wonderful.
Beautiful building. Thank you. Let's see, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of meetings to announce for. First, Public Safety will be meeting on April 11th at 4 o'clock in the council conference room. And we have one topic of the emerging issues in public safety. Also for the Finance Committee, we'll be meeting at 5 o'clock in the council conference room on April 11th. We have 4 items. The first is vouchers and Sunset Neighborhood Park Phase 1 consultant contract, Renton History Museum remodel contract, and the fourth and final is emerging issues and revenue streams. That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to announce that the Transportation Committee that was going to take place on April 4th, on Monday, has been canceled.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Utilities Committee, regularly scheduled to meet on April 4th, has been canceled.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Butchie.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Prince.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, I think we've got it covered. Audience comments. Anybody who would like to address the council? Your last chance, Paul.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.